What's going on, YouTubers? This is your elder Cleo Harris Jr. I'm coming to you pre-recorded because there's so much information I need to give you. So this video is going to be mainly about my testimony, the dream, and the experience going over to Israel. And so I'm just going to get started. Now, you don't want to stop listening to the whole entire video or documentary, because then I'm going to add scriptures to back up the dream, the testimony, and the experience over going over to Israel from beginning to end. So just be patient, and we'll try to speed this up as reasonable as the Ruach or the Holy Spirit will allow me. So what I want to begin is to say shalom to everybody, love you, and thank you for your prayers, support, and I tell you what, it was an interesting experience. I'll put it like that. So let me start by my dream. Last year, I had a dream and a vision, and I knew it was the Father giving it to me. The dream and the vision, let me lift my glasses up. The dream and the vision was about me going over to Israel, and the Father was speaking to me in different segments that I was dreaming. It was one dream, but it was different segments. And so when I was on the plane in this dream, I landed in the airport of Israel. And I remember when I landed, I came into the airport and I looked up and I seen this beautiful canopy. It was just beautiful. And so there was a man that met me, Rabbi Hoshua, Amiriel, the Amariel or Amiriel. I'm not trying to recklessly say his name wrong, but I just say Hoshua. And so I'm just looking up, at the canopy in Israel, and he comes up and he says, "I know about you too." Well, he's actually said, "I heard about you too." Let me rephrase that. In the dream, he said, "I heard about you too." And I didn't catch that. So I'm just thinking, okay, he heard about me. And, the ministry that I have here in America, teaching our people who they are and being a social activist over here. So when Hoshua said in the dream, I heard about you too, I was like, oh, okay, well, hope it's not too bad. And he turned around and said, "Follow him." And so, I woke up, and there was just such an urgency in 2017 for me to get to Israel, and I could just feel it in my spirit. Didn't know why. I was, my desire, I guess, if you will, was to go over there and, keep the Passover and just lay before the Father in sackcloth and ashes. That's, the black, all black. And so I would, from time to time, I would tell everybody about the dream of me going over to Israel and the Father speaking to me. And I would tell him, I said, he's going to get me over there. And so he did. And, he made a way for me to get over there to Israel. And so for a whole year almost, I'm just excited. Okay, how is he gonna do it? When is he gonna do it? And just a long, short, synopsis of that testimony. I was blessed with a ticket to get over there. So, and the Father had already shown me I was gonna get there. I didn't know how, so I was blessed with a ticket to get over there. And I was going to meet with a family, and we had the place where we were going to stay, and just had everything arranged. And it didn't pan out that way. So we go from the dream to the actual uh, traveling over to Israel. So I rented me a car, which I thought that would be the cheapest way uh, for me to get, to uh, the airport that would uh, take me from the United States over to Europe. And so um, I rented a car, left uh, April the 12th, early in the morning, around 7. That's early for me, but left around 7. Ended up forgetting my passport. So I had to drive back home about maybe 20 minutes away to get my passport. And, got on the road, headed to Dallas to catch the plane out of Dallas to Atlanta. And so I, timed it just right, got there in Dallas, and I got kind of lost, because I've never really drove into Dallas to catch a plane. I've always flown in, uh, waited for a minute, and then catch my plane out of Dallas to wherever I was going. But to drive there, it was a little confusing, but I figured it out. So, so I end up uh, getting situated with my plane and turning a rent a car in, and flew out to Atlanta. Waited on my plane there, and that evening around 7 o'clock, we take off from Atlanta to Rome. Never been to Rome, never been across the seas, period, ever. And now, was I excited about going to Rome? Yes. And most people who understands history knows that Rome ruled and pillaged the whole world. And the scriptures tell us in Daniel's chapter 7 that Rome would be the last empire, kingdom, powerhouse, country, if you will, that would rule the world until Yeshua come back, Jesus come back. And so I was pretty excited just to get in, get out. I wasn't trying to walk around and go visit, take time out for that. No, I wanted to get in, get out. And so that flight was 9-11 hour flight. And it was a little nerve wracking because we had turbulence and a little shaking in the plane, but overall I wasn't worried or scared. And so I'm just thinking, how soon it's going to be when I land in Israel. I just can't wait to just lay before the Father on the ground. I'm talking dust, rocks, you name it. Because I'm truly into worshiping the Father. And so my plane landed in Rome. I was there for maybe an hour or two. And then we head to Tel Aviv, Israel. And so it took about 2 hours to get there, hour and a half, 2 hours to get there. And so we land in Tel Aviv, Israel. And so as soon as we land, the plane parked, and we unboarded the plane, and I remember getting off the plane, walking through that little terminal thing to get off the plane, and come around the corner. It says customs. All passengers go to customs. And so, I got my passport ready and walked down this long slant of the ramp to the customs at the very bottom. And I seen the lines, and they were pretty long, and you had Israeli custom people in there. And note now, when you get there, you notice that there's no elderly, older people. They're, mostly 22 to maybe 40, maybe 44 years old. So it's a lot of young Israelis, citizens that are working for the customs. A lot of young people. And so I'm waiting in line, and I go to give my passport to the Israeli custom. Young dude looked like he's probably 28, maybe 33 tops. And there was a older guy, probably in his, excuse me, maybe early 40s. Well, when I walk up to them, I hand my passport, and before, well, the young guy said, "Where, what is your, why is your trip, you know, uh, why you take your trip here? What's the purpose of you coming here?" And I told him, um, "Well, I'm here to keep the Passover with some friends and visit and tour, see the country." And that was it. Well, the guy that was standing up, the older guy that was standing up, said, "You are Hebrew Israelite." Now, this is what the guy said, the other Israelite, or Israeli guy. He pointed at me. He said, "You are Hebrew Israelite." And for a minute, it kind of threw me off guard. I didn't know what to say for about maybe 5 seconds. And then I just kind of felt like if I denied that, it's like me denying the Most High, because that's my heritage. That's who I am. And so immediately I said, "Yeah, you're right. I'm Hebrew Israelite." And he said, "No, serious. You're Hebrew Israelite." And I said, "Yes, I am. I'm the real deal. I'm Hebrew Israelite. That's my heritage." Then he looked at me, because the other guy that had my passport just held on to it. He said, "Have you come to this land to watch God take us out your land?" And I was like, "What?" Now, I know what he's talking about, but that's not why. I'm not in Israel to debate. I'm in Israel to keep the Passover, to visit, and to tour. That's it. Now, note, I'm by myself, so nobody's there to pick me up. I was supposed to meet a family there, so we kind of got the schedules mixed around, because I was supposed to come on the tail end of this. And let me say this: this was on the Sabbath, so I'm traveling on the Sabbath. Peaceful, everything. Not convicted of traveling on the Sabbath. I understand Scripture, even in those situations. And so my focus was, okay, where is this going? And I mean, he said twice, "You're Hebrew Israelite." And I said, "Yes, and yeah, I am the real deal." Twice. Then he says, "Have you come over to this land to watch God kick us out your land?" He said that twice. And immediately I said, "That has nothing to do with me. That's between you and the Father and whoever else. Has nothing to do with me." He said, "No, no, no. I'm serious. Have you come over to this land to watch God kick us out your land?" Now, y'all ask yourself the question. Number one, he knows who I am. I don't know this Israeli. I do not know this foreigner, in his land. I don't know him. Now, I know who he is and where he comes from. He's Ashkenazi. He's Khazar. He is not the true landowner. So I know that. But, I wasn't there for all of that type of discussion or debate. The fact that he knew who I was blew me away at first. And when I looked into this Israeli's eyes, I kid you not, I seen such an evil presence in this man, in all of them. Just evil. And I mean, when I say evil, Listen to me, Black America. We think racism is harsh over here. We see the Israelis and how they treat the Palestinian. I'm giving you firsthand account. Now, there are brothers in the land of Israel, down in Dimona, down in Arad is where I was going, because they also asked me, so where are you going? I said to Telerad or Telerad. And he's like, oh, okay. And immediately, I could just feel such hatred from these Israeli custom men. These were men. And I said, is there anything wrong? Yes, you need to go over to that room and take a seat. Someone will be with you in just a minute. And so I'm like, God, what was that? And in my spirit, I was like, God, these people are kind of hateful. I mean, just bluntly hateful. And then I'm thinking, why would he ask me or tell me I'm Hebrew Israelite? I ain't said nothing to nobody about being Hebrew Israelite. I know I'm Hebrew Israelite after studies and putting, the scriptures and prophecies and just really praying and fasting. Oh, I know who I am. But this cat right here, oh, he's up on it. He knows the whole kid caboodle, if you will. He knows everything about Black America. Now, follow me now. So, I'm waiting. I get off the plane at 4:30. So, after all of that, I'm waiting. And for about maybe an hour. So, I'm waiting for an hour to speak to whoever's going to speak to me, not knowing this thing was going to snowball and go left field. I wasn't going to get let into Israel. So this other Israeli guy come out, and I could barely understand his language. And he began to ask me all kind of questions. What's my purpose here? Told him the same thing, to keep the Passover. Who are you staying with? I told him, who the person was and where the home is going, the home that we rented out. He asked me information about what's in my bank account, how much money do I have, what kind of job do I do, and how long I've been in business. I mean, he just asked me a plethora of personal questions, which I can understand that. But the attitude of both men, Israeli men, was so uncomfortable. They have such a hate for you that you want to kind of counter react, like, what's up? What's going on? And so I had to kind of keep my composure, because I'm by myself. I'm in a country where they can do whatever they want with foreign or civilians or whoever, that's not from that country. And so he just kept drilling me with the same old thing. Where's your proof? I showed him the airplane ticket, the itinerary, but I didn't have the other information. For those that were over there and still over there, didn't have all this information. That was coming with the people that I was going to be staying with. Well, long story short, he says, I can't let you into this country because you don't have all these information, you don't have all the accurate information that I need to where I can trust letting you in. And I understood that. But he didn't want to let me in anyway. He contradicted himself with, well, if you call somebody and they come up here, you can, I'll let you in. He didn't want to let me in, period. I'm telling you, and I'm going to show you. So I, was texting this family that was coming over, and they were 14 hours behind. So I was like, well, is there any way I can just wait here until they come and they have all the proof, they have money, everything that we need for me to get in? No. No, you need to have this. I mean, he was going back and forth. One minute he's like, yeah, I'll wait. And next minute he was like, no, I got to send you back. And I mean, it was horrible. I mean, horrible. And so um, we talked. He asked me all kind of stuff. Some stuff I can't remember, but the testimony of how I got treated is not so much of the testimony, it's what the Father said to me that's going to matter. And that's what I want to get to. And I want to try to be within 30 minutes of this, giving you this testimony. We're at about 20 minutes, and then we'll end the video. But I want y'all to listen to this whole testimony because it's an eye-opener to those that want to go home, those that want to go back to the land, those that truly know who they are as Israelites, the original, the black man, the Negro, all over the world, especially America. Again, I went by myself, which I recommend nobody going by themselves. Go with a group, and make sure you have plenty of money, at least $500 or more, however long you're going to stay or more. Have the information of where you're staying, and just have your ducks in a row, if you will, your paper, your information, and definitely your passport, because they will be harsh on you, especially people of color, Negroes, black people, so-called African Americans. They hate black America. They hate you. Let me say this again. Those Israeli people, the one that occupy Israel, they hate black people with a passion. And, I knew the Father was watching over me doing all this process. So basically, I was detained. I was being interrogated for about 4 hours, literally. Okay? 4 hours, literally, I was being detained. And finally, he just said, you know what? If they can come, I'm about to get off. I'll talk to you tomorrow, and you can. We'll get you in. He was lying He was lying on all sides. He didn't give a flip about who was coming. He didn't care. He packed his bag. They passed the paperwork on. I had to sign paperwork to, acknowledge that, these things I didn't have and all of that. And so, not knowing what was getting ready to happen next. And this is why I say you have your paperwork, go in groups. Don't go by yourself. And if you do go by yourself, you better have everything together, because you can have it all together, but they gonna give you a hard time, and you could be deported back or held or detained. So about 9 o'clock, maybe 10 o'clock at night, they told me to come with, them. And it was the police, the Israeli police. So now I'm like, oh man, what's getting ready to happen now? Because they ain't said nothing about giving me a ticket and get on out of here and mind my own business. They say, follow me. And it was a elderly Palestinian man there. And I mean, they talked to that Palestinian so crazy. Elderly. This is an old person. He's about 60 something, maybe 70. And he was a sick man. And I remember him saying, hey, why are you guys holding me? I have a home here. And the young people, the young Israeli people there are so disrespectful. When I say so disrespectful, they talk to you like you're an animal, literally. I kid you not. And they appear to try to be nice, and you don't see them doing that to white Europeans. There was an African Christian brother there, and they held him, and he didn't have something right. They eventually, I think, let him go, but he was so scared, and I kid you not, this African Christian brother was so scared, he had a Bible wrapped up in plastic, so it was brand new. He pulled that thing out, and next thing you know, I'm watching him read his Bible. That's how scared he was. And so there were some other people there, and a couple, married couple there. But anyway, they told like three of us to follow them: the Palestinian elderly man and this Asian guy who spoke Russian. And so next thing you know, we're getting loaded up on a van. We get loaded up on this van, and it's driving around, Israel's airport. And then finally, about 5 minutes, didn't take long because we're on the other side of the airport. I think it's probably north side, north east side of, no, northwest side of the airport. And we come to this enclosed, covered up, barbed wire, small facility that looked like a jail. It was a jail. And next thing you know, they tell us get out, and I'm going upstairs inside, and I was like, man, this is a jail. You mean to tell me they putting me in jail? And so I end up spending a whole day in jail in Israel. I was detained. I was being deported back to America. And they did. I had to take my phone out of my pocket. They let me keep my wallet in there. It's nothing I can do or use my wallet for. And told us come down the hall, follow them, and they opened this big old steel door. And yes, I was in jail in Israel, being detained at Israel's airport in Tel Aviv. And so I was in jail with 4 Russians and a Palestinian, and I was the only American there, the only Israelite in there. And so I could understand the Palestinian guy. He spoke English, and it wasn't real good, but I could understand him. But the Russian guys couldn't understand him, made certain things out. But excuse me. They laughing, and I laugh with them, and we kind of understood certain things. But in my mind, I'm like, what is about to happen? Because it's a little different over there. Those that haven't been over to Europe or East Africa, they call Middle East, Israel. Oh, it's a little different. It's a real deal. People get killed over there. Things happen, accidents happen. And so I didn't know what was about to happen to me. Now, was I worried? No. I was more concerned about my people back in the States, my family, being concerned because I hadn't talked to anybody. I couldn't talk to anybody. My phone is taken. And so I'm in there a whole day. My wife hasn't heard about me. And so I didn't want them to worry. So I began to pray. I sat up in the bed in front of everybody. I began to pray. And I asked the Father, you bring me way over here to be detained, to go to jail? What's the reason? Give me a reason, Father. Give me a reason. Show me. I've done everything that you asked me. And I know it ain't just me traveling on the Sabbath, because I have helped people and done things that I didn't want to do on the Sabbath, but I was told to do certain things on the Sabbath, for some people, to help some people that was in need. And so this is not about me traveling on the Sabbath. I guarantee you it's not about that. And so, I just prayed and I said, Father, okay, get me out of here. Send your angels before me, touch whoever's heart, do whatever paperwork, and get me out of here. And but I still want to know, why would you bring me all the way around the world and have me deported back? And it didn't hit me. So that was probably around 11 o'clock, maybe 12. They didn't turn the lights out until real late, like maybe 2, 3 in the morning. and I can't sleep with lights on anyway. So it was about 2, 3 in the morning, and I kind of closed my eyes for a little bit, maybe 5, 10 minutes. So I didn't get no sleep. And then all of a sudden, I got up and I said, "Father, why? Can you talk to me? Show me something. Speak to me." And I just sat there, and I heard an audible voice say, "You didn't deny who you were. You didn't deny me." And I thought for a minute. Nobody said nothing about Yeshua or Jesus. Nobody said, is your faith this or that? Nothing. So at first I was like hesitant to receive that, but then I said, no, that's the Father speaking. Because he took me back to what that man said, that custom Israeli said. You Hebrew Israelite. Like, he already knew who I was. I ain't talked to nobody. I just got off the plane. And so the Father was like, you didn't deny me. You didn't deny who you are. And I got I set up in the bed, and I was like, oh, okay, so maybe he's going to make a way for me to go on and go into Israel. Nope. Because remember the dream. Just remember the dream, and I'll go back over, and then we'll end it. And so I was just meditating on that. You didn't deny who you were. You didn't deny me. And now, people have gotten killed. Many people have gotten killed over in Israel. And I'm not going to go into that detail. So a lot of things could have happened to me during that time. And but I wasn't worried. Because I knew the Father had his angels encamped around me. And so all of a sudden I hear another word. He gave me another word. He said, now I can trust you. After he told me I didn't deny who I was, Hebrew Israelite, and didn't deny who he was in me, in that heritage, I get a word just within maybe 5 minutes. He said, now I can trust you. Now I'm in the bed. These Russian men and, the Palestinian elderly man, he went on to sleep. But the Russian men, the 4 men in there, they watching me pray with my hands out like this. I'm praying. I didn't care. And so when I heard him say, now I can trust you, I said, whether you allow me to come in to the country of my forefathers or send me back home to America, I'm good. Just send your angels to get me on out of here. 15 to 20 minutes later, the door was opening. And they said, Cleo, and to the other guy, follow me. Just 15, 20 minutes of me praying. I said, Father, just get me out of here. I got you. Whatever your will is. If you want me to go on into the country, you'll make that way. If not, you sending me back, that's fine too. And so I still didn't understand what was going on and why, but I left it alone. And so I followed them. I get my stuff. I get my backpack. And they're taking me and the Palestinian elderly guy back to the airport, or in the airport area, to put us on a plane. Now we're being escorted by police. We're the last one to get on our planes individually. And me and the Palestinian guy talked, a little bit, and they were shipping him to Istanbul, Turkey. He has a home in Palestine. So they shipped him back to Istanbul. And he got on a plane, and they drove me around, and then I got on my plane. And so I'm coming back to Rome, and the police had to pick me up from Rome because I'm being, sent back, deported. So I guess there's a system that each airport, until you get back to your homeland, they make sure you get there by police. And so Rome picked me up right out the gate. I was the last one to get off each plane. I only went 2 planes. And when I got into the police area of where the policia, the Roman policia, were great people, respectful, nice. One thing they said, boy, those Israeli people do not like us. Now, they said that out their mouth, and we've heard horror stories. And I was like, it was horrible. They began to apologize. I'm sorry you had to experience that. But, also, there are things that go on in Israel that they're real cautious about. In a hateful way? Really? Okay. So I get that. But anyway, hey, you want something to eat? You want some water? They were cool about that. And so I'm still in back of my mind wondering. I got to Israel. I didn't see the canopy that I seen in my dream. And the man who was picking me up was Hoshua. He didn't come, which I found out during that time that no brothers were coming up to even remotely on the Sabbath to get us or to get me. And I understand that. Have no problem with that. And I respect Hoshua, and I respect Ashira, Kenya. Respect, love them brothers, but they have to obey the Torah or whatever the Father tell them. Not to mention that Hoshua has helped some people, and some people have burnt him on that day, and I get that, I get that, but I'm not one of those people that's wicked and evil. Am I perfect? No, none of us perfect, not one. And so I don't hold that against the brothers there, especially you, Hoshua. If you're watching this video, I do not hold anything against you. You be obedient to what the Father has called you to do. I appreciate everything you do and what you have done for our people, the nation of Israel. And so anyway, I'm in Rome. My ticket is slated for Atlanta. Well, we have issues and we have to go to Boston before we go to Atlanta. So finally we get over to America, back over to America. I get back to America in Boston. My plane leaves around 7. It's going to be a while. So I didn't get to Atlanta till like 10 something at night. I had called my cousin ahead of time to see if I could stay with her and her husband for the night before I either rent a car or find a way, to get on back to Tulsa. So I end up getting a plane from Atlanta straight to Tulsa, which was a blessing. And, bless my brother Ryan for making that happen. Bless his family. The Most High bless him, and bring prosperity on him and his family, for doing that. But anyway, I hadn't had sleep in 3 days. I hadn't really ate nothing in 3 days. The stuff that they were giving you in jail was like 2 pieces of bread and some cheese. That was it, and some water. So I didn't eat none of that for 3 days. Didn't have no sleep, didn't eat for 3 days until I got to my cousin. And so when I got to my cousin, took a shower, cleaned up, washed some clothes, and the next morning I got up. She took me to Atlanta took me to the airport in Atlanta to catch my plane. And once we arrived to the airport, I seen this big old canopy. This big old white steel canopy. It was beautiful. It was crisscrossy. And I was like, this is what I saw in my dream. I seen this in my dream. Now note, I have never taken a flight out of Atlanta. So I don't know how Atlanta's airport. Heck, I wouldn't know how to get around Atlanta's airport. It's huge. It's massive. And so when I get to the departing part and I looked up, my cousin is driving, I said, this is beautiful. I said, so they probably going to put a cover over this. She said, yes. She said, you ought to see it at night. It lights up in all different types of colors. This is what I saw in my dream that I thought was in Israel. It wasn't Israel, people. It was Atlanta. So now I'm saying, so I know that what the Father showed me in the dream is supposed to be where I'm at today. And I'm not supposed to be in Israel at this particular time. Has nothing to do with keeping the Sabbath. Okay? Because my heart, my wife and family and friends will tell you, I don't play with the Sabbath. But I'm going to be obedient to what the Father said, because he is what? The master of the Sabbath. Okay? So I'm looking at this canopy in awe, but I'm pertaining it to the dream. And so when I see this dream coming to fruition, if you will, coming to pass, I was like, I'm supposed to be here. Wow. But now we got one more thing to fulfill the dream. And that was Hoshua. Hoshua didn't come to the airport. Surely he's not in Atlanta, because where I thought he was in Israel, which he was in Israel, getting ready for the Passover. And so that was on my mind the whole day. That was on my mind the whole day, y'all. Well, this was on a Monday, so I'm getting ready to get, check in, and told my cousin, love her, love them, y'all be good, I'll talk to you later, text you when I get home. So I got on the flight, I'm on my way to Tulsa, and it's about an hour and 45-minute flight, which that's like a hop and a skip on a plane. And get to Tulsa International Airport around 12, somewhere around 12, a little after 12. Get home, my son came and picked me up, and told my son, love him, hey man, appreciate you. He took a lunch break and came and picked me up, took me home, and we talked a little bit, told him about the experience, and he was like, wow. It's like, man, my pops could have been gone. I said, yeah. And so, it still bothered me about Hoshua not coming to the airport. Now, I wasn't thinking about him not coming on the Sabbath. But anytime the Father showed me something in a dream, now, he said he reveals himself, in dreams and visions to his prophet, right? And most of y'all know the title that I walk in, and I'm not boasting about this. So he reveals himself to his prophets in visions and dreams, and sometimes he'll speak to you in an audible voice. That already came to pass. Okay, get that. So I'm a little concerned about, okay, what about Hoshua? How come he didn't come to the Israeli airport? Surely he ain't coming to Atlanta, because now I see that segment of the dream. Now this is in order the way he showed me in the dream. It happened that way in real life. So now I see the canopy. Now I'm waiting. Well, how's Hoshua gonna fit in this dream, or this reality that's now? Well, it wasn't until 3:24 Hoshua messages me and say, I need to know if 3 brothers will go up to Washington, D.C. to, stand and fight for our people in reparations, for repatriation. So, and I'm already there, and that's going to happen too. But, it just troubled my spirit. No, I'm not supposed to go there right now. So if there were other brothers that could do that, hey, praise Yah, praise the Most High for that. But, and I wanted to text him back over Messenger and said, I'm not going to be able to do that. And, didn't have the funds to even go from one place to the other. And I don't live, it's not like I live around the corner from the White House or Washington, D.C. So I waited, and I just prayed, Father, give me the words that I need to text Brother Hoshua back. And so I went back and read, because I just read that part. I didn't read everything. And when I read what Hoshua sent me, because Hoshua always send you a link and then he'll say a little bit and he's out. He's real short when it comes to texting or sending information, and I'm kind of the same way. Well, when I read the rest of the information he sent, here's what Hoshua said. He said, yeah, I heard about you guys too. I'm going to say it again. He said, yeah, I heard about you guys too. What happened to you guys? That's what he said. What happened to you guys too? And then it just hit me. Now, remember, he didn't send that until I got back home, which was that Monday around 12. Well, no, around 3:20 something. I got home around 12. Flight came in. And when he said that, I said, oh, man, this is what he said to me in a dream. So now that whole dream is fulfilled. Hoshua was the last nugget for that dream. And it eased my mind that, wait a minute, I fulfilled what the Father wanted me to fulfill. But why would he send me over there? Here go another word I heard. An audible voice. I heard it. He said, I can take you any place in the world to give you a word. But I had to sit you down in jail to give it to you, to let you know that I'm in control of your life, basically. It is not time for you to come into the land. I still have an assignment for you to do. And that assignment, Hoshua told you about it, which I put that desire in you, and that's to go to Washington, D.C., and stand for your people, Black America, the true Israelites of the Bible, the true people of the Bible, to get their reparations. And I mean, I was like, oh man, I feel so good now. And so, I was a little worried, if I was disobedient. But the Father said, no, I took you way over there to speak to you by yourself in the jail, to let you know that I was in control. And I was like, wow. And the word that kept coming to me is what he said. Now I can trust you. In other words, the Father can do whatever he wants in terms of sending his servants wherever. Not all servants are going to do the same thing. Not all servants are going to go back into the land. I'm just saying. Daniel didn't go back. Daniel died in Babylon. Was he disobedient? No. And he was a righteous servant, righteous prophet. You look at Isaiah. He went down to Egypt, and he had to do certain things. What I'm getting at, people, even in this dream, and it manifesting itself for me in my life in this point in time in 2019, showed me one thing. The Father has, when he chooses you, when you're chosen, he has assignments for everybody to do. What Hoshua is doing over there in Arad, in the real Mount Zion, Jerusalem, only Hoshua can fulfill that. And Hoshua is being obedient to what the Father has called him to do. I can't do what he do. Now we are here on this earth to lift each other up. But we're not here to play games. I'm a grown man. Hoshua is a grown man. Brother Ashira is a grown man. Johan, Ryan, and all the other brothers, y'all grown men. I will say to y'all, my brothers in the truth, Israel, just be obedient. We all have different callings. And yes, we all have to be obedient. None of us know this more than the other. We all have to come together and walk in love. And that's the problem that we're having amongst the black community, amongst Israel, is that, these things, these curses that have been put on us is because of disobedience of our parents. And I don't want to be disobedient. When the Father say go left, I go right because some other man or brother in the faith is saying, no, you need to do this because of Torah. We got to be careful how putting those words out there. But trust me when I say that the Father spoke to me in that jail, just like He's spoken to Jeremiah, just like He's spoken to Isaiah, just like He's spoken to Peter, Paul, and many other brothers that have been before me. Sometimes His purpose is to speak to us when we are locked up, confined, because now we get to see Him at work. And so I just praise the Father, hallelujah. I just praise Him, for showing me that. And whatever His will is, that's where I want to be. Again, am I perfect? No. I'm learning. I'm growing in this. And I thank the Father for bringing me out the church, from bringing me out from the great delusion, Christianity, the religion that we were baptized in. Now that's for another video, but I wanted to take the time to share this testimony, not just do a 3-minute testimony, 15-minute testimony. I want y'all to get to know who Elder Cleo Harris Jr. really is. That's my American name. That's what we got to deal with. When I get the new name, praise Yah, we'll go from there. But right now, this is the real deal. There's nothing fake about me. But I want, my people and those that the Father has chosen to understand that going over to your homeland, it ain't no joke. You better number one, you better be right in your heart with the Most High. You better be prayed up, and you better have your paperwork together. And don't go by yourself. You don't. Men can be a little bit proudful. Oh, I ain't scared of this, and that's just that lion in us. We real men. We'll have that little ego going, but we got to humble ourselves. He said, if my people who are called by His name would humble or humble, the old school say humble, but humble themselves and turn from their wicked ways, He would heal our land. And so, I wanted this testimony to be right there in your face, nothing fake. I'm in, my studio doing this, and I just want you guys to understand that, hey, my heart is to serve the Father. I don't serve man, I don't follow man. But I understand that we collectively have to come together. Whether you're in the camp, whether you're individually, whether you have a church, and you still may be, kind of struggling with Christianity and calling yourself Hebrew, that's not for me to condemn. I just know that's not a place that I'm going to walk in. But I would say to everybody, keep the Sabbath, no matter what. Okay, if you can't go to the land, keep the Sabbath. That's key, because that's a sign and a mark on us. And then He'll take care of the rest. Make sure your heart is right. I'm hoping that I've said everything. The canopy, man, just blew me away. If you think about it, the canopy, you go up under a canopy. Why was the Father showing me a canopy? I had a sister tell me, brother, that canopy represents a covering. And so the Father had me covered, basically going over to Israel. And I thank Him for that. I thank Him. And then speaking to me while I'm in jail, basically prison, barbed wires all over the place, bars on the windows, sensors, infrareds everywhere. I thank the Father for watching on me, because anything could have happened to me, y'all. I want y'all to know anything could have happened. But, the Father saw fit for me, just to sit down and get that word. We cannot play with this thing. And I'm happy that, our brothers and sisters who came over from all over the world to keep the Passover in Israel, down in Arad, with Hoshua and the rest of them, I'm happy for them. Heck, I even had paid my percentage for the lamb. I told Brother Ron, I said, tell Brother Ashira to donate that. Just be a blessing. You know what I mean? I'm a team player. I want to see my people be blessed and just be obedient. And so, with that being said, I just thank you guys for taking the time out to listen to my story, listen to my testimony, and I may come back with a part two of my testimony to Israel, and kind of go back over it, but it won't be as long as this video. So, uh, if you want to make donations, you want to sow a seed into the ministry that I have, that the Father has given me, you'll see a link, PayPal, a link down at the bottom, and you can contact me if you want to. But I just encourage my people, just be obedient. Wake up, people. We are the people of the Bible. We are Israel. And many lies have been, told. I'm going to show y'all this. Oh, hold on. Just a second. Show y'all some books for newbies who are coming into the truth. This book here, I don't know if y'all can see it. It's called From Babylon to Timbuktu. This is your history. This is some of your history. This is another book by Lee Cummins. It's called The Negro Question. And this one right here, this is The Religious Instructions to the Negroes of America. This is all about the religion Christianity and how they baptized us into their religion. This is what messed us up. They changed and took a lot of stuff out of the Bible. And so I just pray that my people wake up, before it's too late. And I just thank the Father, hallelujah, for waking me up. I'm still into reading that word. There's nothing changed about me. A lot of people say, well, Cleo, are you Muslim now? No, I'm a believer. My heritage is Israelite. I know who I am. I'm not African American. That's dual citizenship. That has nothing to do with heritage. So, he said our people are destroyed for the lack of knowledge. So we got to wake up. Most of us don't know what the meaning of citizenship and heritage is. A heritage is your culture. It's who you are. It's what runs in your blood. Citizenship is where you're from. If you ask a European white person where they from, what's their heritage, they're going to tell you what? I'm Irish. I'm Scottish. I'm Polish. I'm Germany. Or German, I'm Rush. But you ask a black man or a black woman, black America, a Negro, who they are, they'll say, "Oh, I'm African American." we don't get it. It's funny to a certain extent. No, you're not African American. If anything, you're Negro. And if you look that term Negro up, which means black, or Jew, look it up. Look the definition up in what other countries call Negroes. They call them Jews. So who are the real people of the Bible? With that being said, guys, thank you for allowing me to tell my testimony, and I appreciate you guys. But hey, I'm telling you, those Israeli people, those fake Jews over there, they do not like us. They don't like this skin. I'm telling you. Evil. And you better be careful. Go in groups, guys. So may the Most High bless you and yours, and you guys be safe, and be sure to hit the like button. Share this video, because people need to hear this. Those that want to go back home or just want to tour, you be careful, because it's getting real wicked out there, and you don't want to be caught up as an innocent bystander. You don't want to do that. Anything else? I'll probably do a part two, but in that part two, I guess I'll just put up some scriptures dealing with moving around on the Sabbath. But I'm not advocating anybody move around on the Sabbath at all. You're supposed to keep the Sabbath. You're supposed to rest. But if there's a need for someone that needs help or whatever, that can be vouched, that's different. But I'm not advocating that anybody travel on that day. Now, with that being said, I'm going to get on off of here. Y'all check out my testimony part 2. All right. You be blessed. Shalom.